Hello again. It's a new week and it's a new episode for the Foturion Weekly Spotlight Show where we showcase some of the best and selected photos from the Foturion online community. For those who are new here, Foturion is a brand new community for photographers based on interaction between them. We usually have weekly critiques for photographs that get uploaded every week in our community. We also have a lot of online events such as the current photo assignment which is running called City Life. You can find out more about this photo assignment and how to participate and win some prizes by going to Foturion.com and clicking here. And we also are preparing some new stuff in order to make interaction between photographers a lot more fun and better, in order for everybody to participate, become better, learn from advices that each member gives to other members or from us, and generally participate and have some fun and mood in order to go out and get some new shots. Now, let's get back to the main purpose of this episode and the show, of course, which is to showcase some photos from Foturion.com and also to give you some tips and tricks along the way. I'm sorry. This is the first photo that we're going to see today. It's called Looking and it's from our member Nasos, and we really like this photo because of the mood it emits to the viewer. When we first saw it, we were feeling stroked by the image of the little girl with Mickey Mouse. Probably this is what the doll is, looking at the sailing boat, waiting for something, and the connection between the girl and the boat is making a very interesting, strong and very sentimental and emotional story, at least here at the members of the Foturion editorial team. We love the fact that it is in black and white, so we are focusing everything regarding our attention to the boat and to the girl as well. There is a very nice placement with the rule of thirds in the elements, and let me demonstrate, because sometimes they say if you can explain it very well in words, it's better to show it. So I'm going into my trusted Photoshop. I'm going to put the photo over here. Just give it a second to load up, and I'm going to show you by using the crop tool how well everything is placed within the frame of this photo, because I think it's very important to study the photos that we see and to take away all the information and tips we can take away. So here we are, as you can see, we are pretty close to the rule of thirds in terms of horizon placement. Now I know that rule of thirds should be used in a way that it serves the picture. We should not be following rules by the letter in photography, because sometimes we might break things instead of fix them. For example, the horizon is in the upper third and it's quite close to the horizontal line of the upper third of the rule of thirds. Another thing that's very important, as you can see, the girl and the sailing boat, which are the main places and spots of interest for our eyes, I placed in the central column of the rule of thirds. The left third and the right third are almost totally empty, as you can see here. The doll is precisely at the location where these two lines from the rule of thirds cross each other, and usually when you want to put something within a frame and it is important, let's say an eye in a portrait or a single subject in a very minimalistic frame, usually the places where these lines are crossing with each other are the places where you should start putting the points of interest, and then of course moving around everything within your frame in order to get the best possible shot you can get. Some words that are coming to us while we were watching this photo is probably desperation, sadness, savior maybe, because maybe this girl is trapped in an island and she's waiting for someone to come and rescue her. Why she's here, why is she alone, why she's carrying the doll, we don't know, but these are questions that help the viewer to create some interesting stories in their minds, thus they make this photo very, very, very interesting. And by not having colors, we are not getting distracted by colors. For example, if she was wearing a red hoodie and the sail here was, for example, for some strange reason, a deep blue, it would confuse the eye. It wouldn't be as focused into the main subject, which is of course the girl and the boat over here and the probable connection between them. So thumbs up, this is a photo that we really loved, and this is why we have awarded this photo with the Photo of the Week award, and it will be in our homepage for the rest of the week for you to enjoy, of course. Now, a portrait, as the title say, of course, and this photo is from Madi Likeridou. We really enjoyed this photo because there is a very serious expression to this child, and usually we don't see children having as serious expressions just like this one. There is a very nice interesting pattern with light going on her face. It's not the usual pattern that you see by window blinds, but it's something very organic, something very abstract. We love the light as well, overall, and the mood of the photo, and we love the processing very, 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 very much. So the colors are very nice, the subject is very interesting, its looks are very interesting as well, the light and the pattern that is making this three-dimensional, let's say, carpet of light and light spots on her face are blending together very well. So overall, a very interesting photo and a very different portrait from the clean portraits we are used to see here in Foturion community. Now this is another photo that has drawn our attention. This is from Angelos Givelekis, and we really like this photo because when you first see the photo you might say, okay, it isn't something very interesting, but let's take a look by bringing this photo within Photoshop in order to examine it a little further. And the light shot is telling me I have made a copy of the photo of the clipboard. I know, dear light shot, you don't have to remind me every single time. And now here's the deal. First of all, small details. If I draw a guide right here, you will notice that the horizon here is perfectly aligned with the bars, the horizontal bars here that you can see in this portion of the photo and in this portion over here. In order to make my point a little more obvious, give me a second, take a red color and a brush in order to show you what I mean. So here's the horizon and here is the bar perfectly aligned over here. So this is for sure, or at least it looks like for sure, it's not random. There is some photographic thinking behind these choices, I'm sorry. Number two, if we use the rule of thirds again, you can see that this person here is right exactly on the point that we have learned to place interesting subjects, and what I'm talking about is the place where this line and this line intersect with each other. They make a sort of a target, a plus, and this is where you usually have to put your subject and the points of interest. So you have one point here, you have one point here, another point here, another point here, which is not very visible right now because of the nature of the photo that I'm showing to you. Another thing that you will notice is that this red shorts is the only, let's say, strong color within the photo, and it's the only really warm thing within the photo, and our eyes are drawn directly to this point. And I believe that I like very much the stance of this person. The front foot is firmly on the ground, he's walking or he's running, we don't know, probably he's walking, but he has a very interesting stance that gives a sense of motion in the photo. Another thing that we like very much are these lines, which are giving a three-dimensional feel to the photo as well, but they're not distracting us. And another thing that we also like very much is the fact that, as you can see here, all this part of the photo on the right and in the middle, let me rephrase this. The middle and right bottom side of the frame is very busy, very complicated, the same above with these lines as well. But this space here is perfectly clear and the person here is standing in the middle of this empty area. So as you can see here, there is some distance here and here. and he's precisely in the middle. Now, this tells me that a photographer has given a lot of thought about this frame. He probably was sitting there for quite some time waiting for the perfect subject to come by. So a lesson that we can learn from here is that we can take advantage of what the city has to offer in terms of compositional elements such as lines, shadows, structures, etc., and we can use these elements in order to frame our shot, but also we have to be patient when we're on the road to wait for the perfect moment when everything clicks in order for us to press the shutter button. A final thought is that because everything is so focused and everything is so clear, I believe that he has used a high aperture, for example something like 8 or 11, f8 or f11. I would probably think about this photo. Maybe 5.6 if this is a wide lens, wide angle lens actually, but I really don't know. To be totally honest, I can only speculate. Another amazing photo, this is from Tasso Anestis, where we are preparing a very interesting interview with him, which will be live in the following days at Foturion blog. But for now we're going to view this amazing photo who has been shot, if I remember well, in Iceland. And I really love this photo because, let's bring it into Photoshop in order to do our magical mambo jumbo, where I will explain with my perfect English, because as you know, I speak England very best. Now, why we love this photo? First of all, is the sense of scale and power. You can see that the person standing here is making this waterfall look really, really, really huge. If this person wasn't standing here, and I'm going to use my... give me a second, because I want to do it a little... yes. Okay, back to our regular schedule. Now, if we use the spot healing brush tool to disappear this person, you can see that, okay, we can see the waterfall, but there isn't something to give us a sense of scale. And this is why this person here is necessary in order to give us perspective, depth, and a sense of scale for this huge waterfall. Another thing that I like very much is the processing in the black and white, because it really draws the eye to the person and to the waterfall as well. There is also a line of sight from this person to the waterfall over here, and oops, I'm sorry, I have to make this an RGB photo and take my red brush. So this person is looking here, so we have a direction at the waterfall, and if we assume that this person is looking at the waterfall, then the eye follows the flow of the water and then goes to the next interesting subject, which is this bright jacket here. And since I said bright jacket, I must remind to everyone that usually the eye is going to stay and start looking at the frame from the most bright spot, from the brightest spot. So we will start looking probably at the waterfall, then we will be drawn by the flow of the water downwards. There is nothing interesting here, so we are looking to the right, because this is how we read from left to right, at least here in the West. And once we see this person of interest, we will be drawn by his line of sight, let's say over here, and our let's say eyes will be always here forever and forever and forever, in an endless loop of going back and forth between the person and the waterfall. And yes, I destroyed the photo, I know. So I hope this makes sense, and this is why we think this is an amazing photo. Rule of thirds, if we examine it with the rule of thirds, you will see that the waterfall is in the middle column of the rule of thirds, and the person here is in the middle almost of the lower right rectangular shape here that you can see that's created by the lines of the rule of thirds. A lot of rule of thirds today, I don't know why. Maybe I have a thing for them, who knows. Now, another shot, this is from Katerina, and or Catherine, as you would say in English. We really like this photo very much because of the mood, because of the almost colorless day that has a hint of light, only in this girl's umbrella. We assume it's a girl because of the clothes and the color of the umbrella as well. The only thing that I would probably fix is the horizon. As you can see, is a little bit crooked, and in this kind of situations where you have very minimalistic photos just like this one with a lot of lines, you need to make sure that your horizon is straight. If you want to straighten it in Photoshop, there are two ways. Way number one, you go to the filter, you go to Adobe Camera Raw, and once the photo is open, you can always use the tools provided there in order to straighten the photo. Of course, this will mean that you will have to crop the photo just a little bit, but this is the problems that you run into when you don't pay attention to the horizon. So you can go here if you want to fix the horizon, and for some strange reason, because these kind of things happen when you are live on a video, I don't see my crop tool anywhere. So this is weird. So I'm going to back off within Photoshop and I'm going to show you how we do it in Photoshop. Now there is a tool over here that will help us define where is the line that we want to straighten, and because I'm not using this tool as much as I'm using other tools, you will see me get embarrassed over here because I'm looking for the ruler tool, which I always forget where it is. So I'm going here to the eyedropper tool, I click and press in order for the pop-up menu to appear, I select the ruler, I draw a line across the crooked horizon, and then I'm going into the image, I'm going to image rotation, I will select arbitrary, and I'm going to just hit OK with whatever angle it says. And there you go, now everything should be straight. Yes, it is. Back to the photo. The photo has a great sense of depth because of these leading lines that lead to the subject. The subject is very well balanced in the middle, but I think it's a little off-center. So when you are going to make photos like this, you need to make sure that everything is perfectly centered. So I think a crop such as this would help to bring our main subject exactly in the center of the frame. There is this thing over here which creates a very nice sense of balance, and this thing over here as well. So if you imagine this and this as a scale, because you have something on the left and something on the right, everything is aligned perfectly and everything is level. The scale does not the scale is not crooked, let's say, on the left or on the right side. And by saying scale, I mean if you imagine a scale that represents the photo, if the scale is leaning to the left, it means that everything look to the eye that they are going this direction. If the scale leans to the right, everything looks like this to the eye. But if we have something here which has some kind of let's say weight, and we balance it with something over here, then our photo seems really balanced. I hope I'm making sense, huh? Okay, hopefully. I also like the dark contrast of the floor with the sky, which is very bright, of course. And on the final note, I like very much the fact that we can see the reflections of the objects and our subject on the wet woods, because probably it's raining. It doesn't take a degree in science in order to figure it out, because it has an umbrella, there is an overcast weather, and there is water all over the place on the wooden floor. Yeah, I guess that's it. I think, yes, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that was it, people. I hope you have found this useful as well. We are waiting your photos for the city life assignment, which is a call to all photographers out there in order to capture and show us the life in their city through their photographic lens and through their photographic vision as well. You can go to Foturion.com and request an invite in order to join the community. We regularly scan the invite requests and approve the people that send us a very nice portfolio, etc., etc. So send your invite, it costs nothing, and you will probably have a very good chance to join our community in order to participate to our events, to our weekly critiques, etc., etc., etc. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. If you enjoy the content and you want us to keep making videos like this with constructive criticism, tips and tricks in order to make you better photographers, please share this video to your social media outlets. And until next time, Stratos Ayani from Foturion.com is saying goodbye for now. Ciao!